Hello, everybody. It's Brian Devine with Topline, and welcome back to the Topline Live at 5. Thank you for joining me today. And we are going to be talking about Google My Business today. I've been working on this a lot lately, and so the questions that are coming up over and over again, I thought, well, let's talk about it here on the Live at 5, because I'm sure lots of people have these questions. And I think the one question that comes up the most when we're talking about setting up Google My Business or Google Maps, the listings that you see in the little, we call it the 3-pack. If you do a local search for a dental practice, an orthodontic practice, chiropractors, you're going to see that 3-pack of practices and their map listings. Now that's called Google My Business. It was called Google Maps, then Google Local, and Google Local Places. It's been all over the place. But Google My Business has been around now for a while. The question is, when you are a practice, do you set up one listing in Google My Business, or do you set up a listing for the practice and then a listing for each doctor? There's no wrong answer here, but I can tell you that when I spoke with Google My Business, when I talk with Google directly, they're pretty clear that they expect a medical practice of any type to have a listing for the practice and then a listing for each doctor. Now, if you are in a situation where you currently have a listing for your practice and it is showing up great in search results, but there's no listing for you if you're a sole practitioner, if you're the only medical person practicing in that office, don't mess that up. Don't go ahead and create a new listing, okay? Leave it the way that it is because it's working, and Google will actively tell you, or they will actually create a new listing for you if they want to kind of force the issue. If you're in a situation where you are either not ranking or you have multiple doctors in an office, then I highly recommend that you go ahead and make the change now, because there's a huge advantage for you. Even if it's just one doctor, but you plan on maybe having an associate down the road, or you're thinking, well, I want to be able to sell this business and have a practice separate from me and have reviews and all the information separate from me, well, here's your opportunity, because by creating a listing for the practice and then a listing for you as the doctor, you can now have 2 listings show up in a search result. And Google does not have any problem with that. You're going to hear from people that do the work that I do, digital marketing companies that have not updated their files, and they're going to tell you that I'm wrong, that I'm crazy, that you should only have one listing for your office. I got to tell you, I believed that too 2 years ago. That has absolutely changed in the last 2 years. It really was about 2 years ago that I found this out. And I found this out because I was speaking with Google directly, and I was wondering what was going on, why we were having some challenges with some map listings. And finally, after talking with several people at Google, they said, oh, well, we now expect medical practices, and that includes dentists, chiropractors, orthodontists, it includes all medical practices, to have a listing for the practice and a listing for the doctor. And that kind of opened my eyes to what the possibilities are, because we can now really promote a listing for the practice and then really promote a listing for each doctor. And if you've got more than one doctor, then we have the opportunity in that little 3-pack of taking up maybe 2 spots. I've never been able to take up 3, but boy, you can sure grab 2 if you've done this right. It takes a lot of effort and time. It's not like we're going to flip a switch and suddenly you're going to be taking up 2 spaces in the maps, but it is an opportunity for you, and Google is totally fine with it. And that's not my opinion. That is coming from Google directly. So stop listening to anybody that says you should never have more than one listing. If you have your name and your practice name as 2 listings, then you're making a mistake. Don't listen to those people. They are wrong. And if they're telling you that, ask them to please contact Google and ask them directly. You don't have to take my word for it. Call them. Then the question, of course, comes, if they don't know how to reach out and get a hold of Google My Business, then you don't want to work with them at all anyway. It's not easy to get a hold of them, but when you've been doing this for a while, you have ways to get a hold of them. And there's a couple of different little tricks that we have in order to actually speak with somebody from Google My Business. All right, I think I've talked enough about it. Please let me know what questions you have. if you still have concerns, or if you're still confused and you're like, gosh, I have the one listing, should I create the other? Give me a call or leave me a message here, and I'll do my best to get back to everybody, because this is an important issue, and it's really valuable, obviously, to be in that MAPS listing. And we don't want you to screw it up. If you're already there, we want to make sure that you stay there and you're really solid. And if you're not there, we want to give you every possible tool to show up there. All right, that's it for me. Thanks so much for your time today. Bye for now.